I think some people don't know what college entails, and besides the schoolwork and things like that, but college is an aspect that has so many different parts of it that, you know, it betters you as a person, I said before, but I like talking to the kids because they are what my future is. And
education is very important to me because it was the one thing that my mother and I had a very volatile relationship, but it was the one thing she always pushed. It was the one thing that she always showed me she cared about greatly, so she kind of instilled that in me. Even though I didn't stay living with my parents, it was always my way out, and so I've always appreciated it for what it has been able to do for my life.
My fear is getting a job, because in my career goal, which is to be a TV radio personality, you're not guaranteed to get that spot right away. You have to work your way up. So many college graduates, they're stuck working a job that they may not want to right away, and it takes a lot because it's very competitive.
Well, we believe that during entering the college zone annually gives us an opportunity to expose our young African American male and female students to a group of individuals who have accomplished their college goals, and it's more informative both for the parent and the student to begin to plant the seed early that college is attainable.
What I want to talk to you about today are the kind of rain showers that are not caused by other people, but are caused by who? Say it again? Yourself, you. There are actually things that we do, that you do, and you know, that keep you from getting where you want to go.
I talk to my students about, to some degree, I feel like as educators, with the rise of technology and all of the things that are out there for our youth, and the generational change and the fact that they're wired up to everything and gadgets and everything, to some degree as educators we have to compete with that and not sell ourselves, but to show them the value of education and how all of those things are sort of passing fads, and what's really going to matter and stick is a good education and really investing in it in a way that can better yourself.
How many of you study in a quiet place? How many of you, that's good. How many of you study with music playing and the TV on and other things happening, your iPod and computer? Yeah. I think that's kind of...
The more children hear these messages from different significant people in their lives, the more likely they are to internalize it and take ownership of it. For example, if it's only their parents saying it or only their teachers saying it, then that is only two voices. But I think as a community, and I'm a very community-minded person, there are numerous ways that we can help the parents and the teachers to water those seeds and make them nourish and grow. For example, in their churches, if the pastor and the other clergy and the other people within the congregation encourage the children, instill in them a love of learning, there's no better place to start your education than in the church, and learning the Bible and learning to sit still, pay attention, listen. There are also other places in our recreational centers, youth centers, places that young people go to socialize. There are numerous opportunities in many places to get that message out. Obviously, we want it to start in the home. We want it to start with the children's very first teachers, their mother and their father. But then there are other voices that they hear throughout their growing process. And if we're all speaking of one accord, encouraging them, showing them what they can do to maximize their talents and develop their skills, the more different places they hear these messages, I think the more that they will internalize it.
Today I primarily wanted to accomplish an information session. I wanted to plant the seeds of information to our students, to our parents, and to let them know that there is a voice out there for them, that there are groups of individuals willing to come to assist them in any way they need educationally. We wanted to convey the message that there are a number of professionals who sat at the table with them, who talked about their careers and how they were able to accomplish their goals. And we wanted to send that to them just to let them know that we too had struggles to overcome, but because we had other people in our lives, we were able to overcome them. And just to be able to look at a doctor, an African-American doctor who had the similar struggles that that child is having today, to say, you know what, I've been where you've been. You too can accomplish your goal if you stick to it through hard work and through our help.
I think for what I see in this experience that we had today, you saw the students light up when they saw their, and I say heroes and sheroes, when they saw other black people in leadership positions. They saw guidance counselors, they saw social workers, they saw CEOs of programs, and that motivates them. It builds their self-esteem, their self-image, and you saw like this, their eyes light up, and they felt proud about being part of this experience and seeing that people do appreciate and value them. And so I think that's really important for our young people to have.
To give it to our younger generation, because they need to see people like myself, you know, talk to them about these things and show them that it's important, and that people take it seriously and that people make it, because at that age it's so easy to, that's right where you start to fall through the cracks. So I know it's important, so I want to pay homage to what my parents did, and then I want to, you know, pay it forward, because I know that that's where our future lies. I mean, it's so cliche, but it's true. You know, that age, middle school, high school, that's right the time where students, adolescents become autonomous. You know, they start hanging out with the wrong crowd. And education, although not the only path to success in life, it tends to be the strongest, you know, to ground you, you know, in terms of like figuring out what your path is going to be. It's a really good anchor. And I feel like the problem with a lot of adolescents is that they don't have an anchor to ground them, you know, because it's really easy to spin off in this crazy world, and they need the anchor that education gives them.
They may not know that it's okay to fail. That's my biggest fear, is to fail. And growing up and learning and being in college, I've learned that I'm going to have some failures, but you know, the road ahead is going to be fun when I have people that can help me, lift me up. Once you get that group of people that you can go to, lean on, cry on, tell them how, vent to them, it's good. But there's going to be some failures. That's what life is about. But the journey of getting up and maturing from that is the best part. You get to be the person you want and develop into the person that, you know, it's going to help people.
I think it varies. I think there are some, again, who may not be informed enough or may not feel confident enough in themselves to be that support because they feel not knowledgeable enough about the college experience. But I think that there are also others who, though they haven't experienced it themselves, are definitely, pushing that student and making sure that they are doing things on time and, very present in the student's life. So I think it does vary. One thing I try to get through to my teacher education students, I think they sometimes have very narrow definitions of what parental involvement should look like. They have their own experience to draw from, and oftentimes that means, the bake sale and the open house, and it doesn't look like that in every community, but it's there in every community, and I think that that's something I work on with them to really kind of break down those very rigid images that they have about, what do parents do in this, urban community versus suburban community. It's going to look different, but those parents care, they're invested, they're doing what they need to do to get their students, ahead and make progress. And they also, I think that our students need to reach out into those communities, because I think, like I said, for some parents, school may not be a very inviting place. They may have had, very negative experiences, really felt marginalized, and that their voices weren't heard. So those teachers need to, instead of dismissing and say, oh, I don't see so-and-so's parents at school ever, they need to reach out to that home and figure out what's really going on before they make their own judgment about that, before really knowing what's going on.
In the African tradition, they would have rites of passage. And the men of the village would take the young boys when they reached a certain age and teach them those things that they felt that helped to make a man. And the women would take the girls when they reached a certain age and teach them the things that a young woman would need to know. And while we don't have formalized rites of passage programs, but it's up to us as a community, as a village. Because when we invest in our neighbor's child, in somebody else's child, we're making our community a better, safer place. Our communities become unsafe when young people feel disconnected and they don't feel that their actions will have any impact one way or the other. So it's up to us to kind of step up to the plate, and if you know somebody's struggling, to offer them a helping hand. And it's also up to those young people to make certain decisions about not repeating the same mistakes that they see have tripped up maybe their parents and grandparents. So if you know that being a single parent is going to make the struggle just that much harder, then you need to think before you do certain actions that could lead to you being a single parent. Or if you know that you see other young people going to jail or getting shot or whatever, don't get caught up in those kinds of activities that are going to almost guarantee that you're going to wind up in jail. Make the choice, the conscious choice, to pattern your life after those people who you see are going to help you get somewhere where you really want to go.
My inspiration is my mother and my father, and to do better for my family. They always tell me that I have to do better than them and accomplish more than them. So
we have to make a commitment to partner. This is a real clear mission. It's Black child development. And so every child goes through developmental stages. Every child needs support as they're developing. That means they need the support from the community. They need support, and when I say community, churches, fraternities, sororities, businesses, and they need parental and family support and the neighborhood support. They talked about volunteerism as part of our process or activities today, and kids got it. They were like, well, if I volunteer more, that means if they give more, if they see a part and a connection, relationship to the community, that they can do better. And they understand that. I mean, that's really important that they were able to mention, well, in order to be successful in school, in college, volunteer. That's just novel. I thought it was really good.
I think one challenge, and this was certainly addressed by some of our panelists and some of our speakers today, is managing that new amount of freedom and figuring that whole piece out. I think many of our students who are coming to college and maybe first generation maybe have, worked after school and done lots of things and balanced many things, and they're actually very good at that. But then all of a sudden it's not being regulated by anyone else. So I think that's part of it. I also think that I feel like at any stage of school, a big factor is the relationships that students create with their teachers, with, really any adult members of, the campus. And here certainly we have, student affairs people, residential life, a lot of people who are invested in different aspects of the college experience. So I think students are more likely to remain in college if they're able to make even just one connection with someone, again, who's a little bit ahead, either working at the college, teaching a class. There's something that they can connect to that really motivates them to stay.
One of the challenges was financially. It's very expensive to go to college. I wouldn't say grade-wise it was difficult because I got here on like an academic scholarship, but the most challenge was finance and determining whether I wanted to stay in state, go out of state, or stay locally, and that's what I ended up doing. So.
By volunteering, by becoming a member of BCDI, we are a tax-exempt national organization. Of course, we always need financial support, but that's not our driving force. Many of our members dig into their own pocket and their own time and their own level of professionalism, and I'm willing to contribute to us in that way. So it's not only monetary, but it's also having the body and the commitment to do some of the work that we've been charged to do.
It's terrific that you are here today. I know that there's a lot of other things you could be doing. There's the family members that took time off to bring you here. The organization for putting this on today for one reason only. Because we care about you, we believe in you, we also are depending on you. We're depending on you to make sure that there's something for everybody that comes behind you. Okay? We want you to be successful, and there are a lot of resources here for doing that. So anything worthwhile is worth waiting for. Back to the quote that I started with, I ran my fastest marathon in the rain. The rain is going to come. It's not about stopping the rain from coming. It's not about stopping bad things from happening or troubles or obstacles or hardship. The rain is going to come. You can count on it. All right? What it's about, do you have the support and the desire to keep running, crawling, dragging yourself through the rain? And the beautiful thing is you don't have to do it alone. Since 1970, the National Black Child Development Institute has remained steadfast in its mission, and that is to improve and protect the quality of life for children of color and their families by giving every child a chance, just a chance. And I just want to end by saying that my hope, my desire, my prayer for you is that you certainly will run your fastest marathons in the rain. Because I know if you can do that, if you can honestly do that, you will get through the college zone and through life a success.